Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Today is December 7th, 2024. Unless you live in Australia, in which case it is December 8th, 2024, because y'all are fucked.
Yeah, sorry, Anvil.
And I said that in the first 30 seconds. God damn it.
Yes, you did. I didn't even have to do anything.
Well, that's not very poggers of you.
It gives me great pleasure. Anyway, hi people, I'm Nat.
Yes, hello. We have Nat here. Today's video is, of course, on December 7th, 1941. And this is going to be our semi-detailed breakdown and analysis, where we will be talking about the events leading up to it, what happened in the immediate aftermath, and some long-reaching side effects. However,
this video is probably going to be very depressing.
Yes. It could be worse.
I will try to bring the humor up for you people.
It could be worse. On the stream, I could have decided to start playing as Japan, in which case I would be depressed more than you guys. I can say that for a fact. As someone who has played Japan before, it's not worth it, guys. You have so much to live for. Don't play Japan. Whatever you do, don't play as Japan in War Thunder. It's not worth it. You have so much to live for. You could go on Twitter and rant about your stupid favorite anime. And then immediately...
Hey, just because you don't like anime doesn't mean that anime is not good.
Do I need to explain how we even got to anime?
No, I know the story, but just because you don't like it.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I just realized that if we're going to do a video on how anime got started, we're going to have to do it on August 8th August 6th or August the 9th. For no particular reason at all. Isn't that right, Enola Gay? My editor, if he ever does... My editor, if he ever, also known as me, if I ever stitch this together in a compilation, I'll put an image of Enola Gay up on stream, if you know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea.
Enola Gay was the nickname of a B-29 Super Fortress strategic bomber.
Okay.
That was specifically modified in late July of 1945 to carry nuclear weapons.
Okie dokie.
And on August 6th, 1945, at approximately 8 a.m. Local time, let's just say that there were 2 suns in the sky that day. That is what I am referencing. I know I don't have any Japanese viewers, so you guys can laugh at me if you guys even exist in like the next 10 years. However, also I'd like to mention that I don't speak I lost a world war. So, suck it. Anywho,
pissing everybody off today.
Good. I'm just starting this video off with a bang. I'm insulting everyone. I'm out for all of y'all's heads.
I don't try to insult me. I don't insult very easily.
Anywho, So yeah, we're gonna be talking about Pearl Harbor. We're going to probably go into more detail about like the thing that I mentioned earlier. We'll mention that on a separate day. We'll mention that in maybe that can be a subscriber special or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
By the way,
Say again?
real quick, Shameless is still on my TV.
I'm gonna throw my chancla at you through my screen. And you are in fact in range.
I am not.
I can detect you. If I can detect you via radar and you show up on my radar screen, you're in range.
I am not in range.
If you are in range of my 200-mile radar screen, you're in range.
Oh yes, I am that.
You are in fact in range of my 250-something mile radar range. Anywho, so yeah, today we're going to be talking about Pearl Harbor. And I'm sorry for the 6 minutes of exposition that you have had for me starting this.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. I'll edit it in post if I feel like it.
No, you won't.
No, I won't. Let's be honest. I fucking won't. Fuck y'all. No, seriously. I love y'all, and I love the support that you give us here on the channel. The links to my Instagram, my main channel, those are down below. Also, if you guys want to go donate to the people over on Maui, who are rebuilding right now, you guys can check out the link. One of the link. There's 5 links below. It's one of them. I have it labeled. Just go look at it. I also have Paepae Oheia as a link down below. If you guys want to donate to them, they help preserve our native culture here and are restoring a few hundred-year-old ancient Hawaiian fish pond. So if you want, you can go donate to them, or if you live here in Hawaii, you can go volunteer for them. It's on their website, so that's all in one place. Just go do that. Also, real quick, this video is also sponsored, but kind of sponsored by Regal Rendition, our local our local drama, I guess, club. I guess I don't know how to describe that. Anyways,
it's a drama program.
Drama program. Our local drama program here in Hawaii, or at least at my school. Yeah, we're going to London, so our GoFundMe is in.
Lucky bastards.
Our GoFundMe is in a link in the description. So if you guys could please donate, it would help me out. So it would help out the channel so much. I will say this now. If you guys are getting this, if you are donating for my birthday or Christmas as a gift to me, I don't see who sends what. So I'm sorry, but it's not a present if I don't know about it, okay? It doesn't count. I can say that right now. It doesn't count as a present if I don't see it. You can't give me
a present in donations is the question.
I will at some point create a Patreon.
You should have done that already.
I could have. I didn't. I have not. I'll make a Patreon when I feel like it, okay? So anyways, without further ado and without any further just me rambling, we will start today's video. I'd like to give a
What did you put in the out of context statements? I hate you.
Got him.
I hate you.
If you guys can get me to 120 subscribers by, let's say, May of 2025, I will make that context check. I will make that a screenshot of that the image of my next video.
No, you will not. No, you will not. No, you will not.
I will make that the thumbnail.
No, you will not. No, you will not. No, you will not. I do not give consent. You do nothing of the sort. I give no consent.
I mean, technically, it doesn't count since it's in the public domain. At least according
I will real name you. I will real name you.
Well, I'd say that's illegal, but
It's not.
It's not anymore. Also, just a reminder for people who don't know, 2 days ago, Thursday, was my birthday. If you guys are going to send me birthday wishes or whatever, and you haven't already, you can say them in the chat, and then I will immediately forget that you said them. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance.
Oh, also, Anvil did send you a happy birthday message through my Instagram, and I just forgot to tell you, so if he didn't do that, then there it was.
He did not, in fact, send me shit.
He said happy birthday, I just forgot to say it to you.
Also, I'd like to mention that Anvil has not consistently given me a actual successful on-time birthday wish in the last 2 years. So, shame on him. We can shame him for that. Also, the reason why I'm shaming him for that is because the other reason is because the last time he did it on time was on December 5th, 2022. So, that's a heavy cruiser. I'm going nowhere the fuck near that.
For context, he's playing Fortnite.
I am not, in fact, playing Fortnite. I don't know what you're on.
Anymore.
Guys, look. This is the new update for Fortnite, Naval Combat. Where I'm playing as a fucking American destroyer. In which case, I will most certainly get bodied the moment that a Japanese bomber aircraft shows up. In which case, that will actually lead me into a segue on, the subject at hand.
The actual topic of the video?
Yeah, the actual topic of the video. Real question for you. How much do you know about Pearl Harbor?
Fair amount. I've been to the museum as well, but I've learned about it in multiple history courses, and I just like documentaries.
You know what? Fair enough. If you'll look at my I will say that if you look at around 30% of my YouTube feed, 30% is documentaries. The rest is assorted video game content because I'm a fucking nerd. Or it's lore. Stinky American.
You know, when Matt retired, I was so
sad. Rip to a real one, man.
I know many YouTubers retired this year, man. fucking many.
In some cases, they kind of had to retire. They should have retired earlier, but I mean,
Not all of them.
not all of them. No.
Like, all of my YouTubers from my childhood, another one retired just, like, yesterday, and I just sat here and I was just like, I'm getting old.
I am on fire. That's not good. Guys,
That's not good for you.
as a professional, non-professional doctor, being on fire is genuinely not good for you. Reload, 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 reload. I seem to have made a mistake of some kind. Ruh-roh, Raggy, I fucking died. So, let's start, I guess, at the beginning. So, on November 26th, 1941, 6 Japanese aircraft carriers, they leave port, specifically in the Kuril Islands. They are basically heading from port to Pearl Harbor, or they're going to a position approximately northwest of the Hawaiian Islands, intending to launch their attack on Pearl Harbor. Real question, why the fuck did they start doing this? How did they get here? What made these fucking lunatics decide, you know what, attacking a neutral country is the answer? Because that went oh so well the last time they did it. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, Google 1937 China. For no particular reason at all. And then look up Nanking in 1937, and I will not elaborate because YouTube won't let me. I may have to do a video on it anyways at some point. So, that may be out of my control. Excuse me, what the fuck is chat? The fuck was that? Was that flying? I seem to have lost rate. Oh. I seem to be slowing down, which is not good, because I need to go faster.
Here we go.
Gotta go fast.
I have completed my Lego set.
Firing a spread of torpedoes.
Is it a good thing, or?
Fuck all of y'all, bitches.
I will be right back.
I seem to have made a mistake of some kind. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Ow. I seem to have died. I'm sorry for those on stream who are expecting, oh, I'm the greatest War Thunder player of all time. No, this is basically just my equivalent of background noise. And I will immediately start it as soon as La Natalia gets back. Because I ain't gonna hold back, girl. Oh, shit. Am I allowed to make that joke? Is that gonna get me, like, demonetized? I don't know, Abu Dhabi or something?
Towns have been around that track, girls not still the hat like that, cause it ain't no home back, girl. There ain't no home back, girl.
I have located an enemy ship and I smell bitch ass.
You smell it on yourself? Oh, hell yeah, Carl's out of prison.
Quit watching shows.
I'm multitasking.
Do not, in fact, make me put you under a bridge. I am in the vicinity of
I wouldn't
several.
dare.
I mean, it would make you more of a hobgoblin than you already are. Turn, 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 turn. Let me quickly turn and then shoot this guy in the shins. Oh, I'm actually hitting him. This fool thinks he can challenge my mortal might.
You have no mortal might.
I know, but I'm playing America, so I have a might of my own.
Oh, shit.
It's called the United States government. I never said I couldn't spend more taxpayer dollars.
One person gets out of jail, another person goes into jail. Like, what?
Isn't that just kind of how the jail system works? I am being shot at, shot at, shot at. I am being shot at, and that's not good. Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy. She'll chew you up. Whatever. I can't see what the fuck I'm doing. At the YMCA, I can't see what the fuck I'm doing.
One of the characters I love gets out of jail, and then my favorite character goes in. Like, what?
Quit giving me kill assists, game. Let me murder people.
Oh,
So
he
basically,
tattooed his name.
to kind of explain how the war in the Pacific started, let's kind of go into a little bit of detail as to what was Japan doing. what kind of naughty stuff were they into this time?
A lot of things.
Yes, they're very naughty. One might say they are the naughtiest of boys. And girls, let's not forget let's not forget what they have posted on the internet. Thank you, Japan, for inventing that. No, and I'm not talking about the internet. I'm talking about the other thing on the internet. Rhymes with corn, guys. Rhymes with corn. My radar doesn't like me. I seem to be on fire. Hey, Nat, I don't know if you can see, but I look like I'm on fire.
I cannot, but I have no doubt in that.
Oh. I seem to have died.
Good for you.
Sharpedo? I shall use the power of Sharpedo. Anyways, so Japan, being Japan, let's be honest with ourselves about Japan. Japan is no stranger to invading people, to murdering people, to committing war crimes. So let's just say let's start in 1931. Yeah, an entire decade before Pearl Harbor, and Japan's still doing very questionable shit. Who fucking knew? Are they doing questionable shit now? Yes, but not for war. They're doing it because they're horny. Got him. I hit a dude with a torpedo. So he died. Anyways, so in 1939, Japan invaded Manchuria, which, in case you don't know, it's a weird thing coming off of the top of China. It's a little bit goofy. One might say a little bit silly. Japan is a war criminal. Wow. Big fucking shocker to anyone who has seen what they post on the internet. However, I'm not going to get into that. That's for another day. So, basically, they invade Manchuria. Technically, on accident. Depends on who you want to believe. If you want to believe the actual official Japanese policy, yes, they invaded Manchuria on accident. If you want to follow what soldiers in Manchuria said, no. It was not, in fact, an accident. They did it on purpose because they wanted it. Because they can't fucking sit straight. They are the ADHD kid in the back of the class who's bullying other people because they feel like it and they're bored. What part of this is new to you guys? So, yeah, they invade Manchuria in 1931, and they take it pretty quickly. However, soon, they're like, what if we just kept going? Because we need more natural resources. So you know what we could do? we could invade China, because this went so well the last time. Actually, it did kind of go well. But here's the thing. They also thought that they could capitalize on China having a civil war at the current moment. Since, guess what? They honestly thought that the Chinese would keep fighting each other instead of fighting the Japanese. And guess what? You'd be wrong. So, Japan, while they basically dominated the Chinese military, they did not eliminate it as a factor, meaning they still had to contend with China. And not only that, but aside from committing extremely terrible atrocities that I will talk about in a separate video, because that in itself is worth its own video, I will make that video when I feel like it is ready. When we are ready to talk about that video, we will talk about that video. But until then, we will not. Anywho, so Japan invades China. It doesn't go entirely that great. That, and there's a lot of international backlash. The international community doesn't like that Japan just invaded a random country. Because go figure. Because go figure. People invading a random country in the middle of fuck-ass nowhere, you know, maybe not the greatest thing for world peace. Then again, we also said it was perfectly fine for Russia to invade Ukraine, so, you know, there's that. So, I'll make a video on Ukraine soon enough. Don't you worry your little ass off, viewer. I will talk about my thoughts on Ukraine in a separate video, but not here. Mostly because I don't think YouTube would like it if I talked about it right here, right now. Because just because I have le ADHD and le autism does not, in fact, mean that I am just going to be switching topics every 10 seconds.
I do that.
Instead, I am actually going to stick to the topic.
Are you sure about that?
I am going to try, okay?
Are you sure about that?
Either that or I will send you to Imperial Japan.
You can't make me do shit.
Radar's out.
Can't make me do shit.
I cast fart gas. I used fart gas as shield. Never mind. Fuck it. It didn't work. Anywho. So yeah. Japan.
But anyway, I cast fuck your life. Bang bang.
Yeah. So it's worth mentioning that during this time frame, in the late 1930s, well, not even in the late 1930s, starting in the 1920s, the U.S. thought that if they were going to go to war with Japan, they were going to go to war with Japan. That wasn't a question at the time. It was like, yeah, Japan's going to be where the next war starts. The even funnier thing is that U.S. planners were wrong. It didn't start in Japan. In fact, we didn't even start a war with Japan about the whole China thing. We just kind of were mad and then just didn't do anything about it. Because we're America. Guys, the more things change, the more things stay the same. That is U.S. policy. You can quote me on that. The more things change, the more things stay the same. So, yeah, we were planning, and even in the late 1920s, we did a test with bombers and whatever, and saw if they could attack Pearl Harbor in a training simulation. Guess what? It fucking worked. Did we do anything about it? Honestly, no, not really. You may be asking, why did we not use this valuable data to our advantage? It's simple. It's the 1930s. We were broke, and we didn't want to do anything about it, and we didn't feel like that there was a war coming. We're like, yeah, if there's a war, it's definitely going to be with Japan. Does that mean anything? No. No, it does not. So, yeah, we're like, yeah, nothing's gonna happen with Japan. It'll be fine. You know who else we said that about? Funny Mustache Man. The funny mustache man that YouTube doesn't like. Also known as Adolf Drippler. If you have been on the internet for any amount of time, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Adolf, failed artist, Hitler.
Yeah. Fonkler. Fonculus homunculus. That's what we're calling him from now on. We're calling him a homunculus.
Homunculus?
Adolf Homunculus.
Okay.
Adolphus homunculitis. Wow, that's a person. I should kill him. Anywho. So, just because we're like, it'll be fine. And basically because we're like, you know what? We're not going to go to war anytime soon. Basically, we're like, you know what? Let's not worry about it. Also, I am dead, despite getting 2 kills. So I still did very well. And you know what? I can accept that.
Are you sure about that?
Today.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. But I also want to eat my munchies later today. Anyways. Mostly because I brought biscuits back home. Because lobster. Red Lobster.
Do you have any extra biscuits that I can just, like, have a biscuit?
I mean, I give it to you through the screen, but I don't know. Has she been a good co-host, chat? Leave Leave your thoughts, chat, in the comments below. I do, in fact, read them. I do, in fact, read them. And I do, in fact, make sure so that she hears your suggestions.
I am a perfect co-host. You know why?
Huh.
Because I'm the only one here.
You know what? Fair enough. And consistently, you are one of only 2 people who ever show up on time.
Excuse me?
I'm the only other person who usually shows up on time.
You were late today.
Okay, but that was because my mom decided, you know what? You haven't gotten enough steps in, so you're going to go do a side quest.
Oh well, that's not my problem. That sounds like a you problem.
Well, you're a stinky.
You're stinky.
Incorrecto.
Correcto. Whatever the fuck.
Motherfucker. 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 I'm going to throw you under a bridge.
As long as I can have a Red Lobster biscuit, that's my last meal.
Perhaps. Depends on what chat decides.
I want a biscuit.
Tell that to chat.
Chat, tell him to give me a biscuit. Give me a biscuit.
And if Anvil goes in chat and says it, it doesn't count.
Why?
Because it's Anvil.
It's not fair.
That, and I can smell his Axe body spray from here. Changed my mind. He would use Axe body spray.
No.
He fucking would. Actually, you want to know why I know he would? Because Jet does.
Why? As in, like, in-person Jet?
Yes, in-person Jet does. I also do not.
That is true. Jet does wear body spray.
I don't even. No. It's not. It's not like I think he knows. I think that Jet, freaking wears Axe body spray. I know he wears Axe body spray. I saw him put it on in class.
I am well aware. I had a mentoring program with him last year.
Yeah.
I mentored elementary school kids with him.
So, anyways, so when I went, when it comes to Japan, you know, they initially did they kind of were like, well, dang, that kind of sucks. So, of course, they're like, you know what? Fine, we shouldn't invade anything. Right, guys? So, immediately, you know what they did? They left the League of Nations. In fact, in that same year, not only did they leave the League of Nations, but so did the hilarious nation of Italy, and also Germany, who left Italy later that same year.
Or Italy.
Italy kind of, you know, the problem with Italy is that they decided this. They did this to themselves. That's not even a joke. If you go Google, I don't know if you've seen his video on it, but there's a guy who did a video on why Italy entered the war, and I think it's hilarious because it sums up just how fucked Italy was from the start. and how just it was a terrible idea for Italy to get involved to begin with.
That's true. But I cannot badmouth Italy because there's areas in Italy that literally pay you to move there.
That's true. But I can also say the same thing for France.
Can you say anything bad about Greece?
I can't say anything bad about Greece. Greece is great. Both the play and the place.
Okay.
I seem to be on fire.
That seems to be a Krill issue and a not my problem moment.
Un momento, por favor. Hello, Frenchie. Say hello to my little friend. Oh, we traded. We traded. Ah! Got him.
Debbie is a piece of shit. If there's anyone in chat who watched Shameless, Debbie is a piece of shit.
And we can, in fact, confirm that Natalie is not, in fact, shameless.
I am shameless. I have no shame.
You are not. So, anyways,
I have no shame.
While in 1937, war may have been on the horizon, but here's the thing: in faraway Europe, did anyone give a shit? Nah. They're like, you know what? It's fine. He'll grow out of it. He's in his emo phase. He'll grow out of it. Albeit, let's be honest, we know they won't.
Okay, to be fair, I never grew out of my emo phase.
I'm going to also be honest, I never grew out of mine to begin with.
I never grew out of mine. Mine was just different than yours.
Ruh-roh, Raggy! I have been shot. I seem to have been shot. Can I? Aw, it counts that I'm on the ground. You little schninkle, we got. Anyways, so 2 years later, because naturally, they're like, you know what? This is fine. We can do this. We can bring this back.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, they're like, hey, Italy and Germany, you guys were fucked over by the Allied powers. What if we all gathered and decided to do, like, a thing? Unfortunately, slight problem. The U.S. then terminated its 1911 commercial treaty with Japan, which made it a lot more expensive for Japan to import stuff from the United States. You know, things like oil that they needed for war things, or just things in general. You know what else you know what else the U.S. and also by extension the Netherlands had? They had
what?
They had rubber. Meaning, slight problem for
That's
Japan.
what she said.
God damn it. So, slight problem.
We'll be here all night, folks. We'll be here all night.
We'll be here all night, guys. Believe me. She will make me be here all night.
Hey, you're the one that usually makes me, okay?
Why do you gotta be so shellfish, man?
Why do you have a krill issue?
Why are you setting me on fire?
I ain't doing shit. Oh, God.
Oh. Something blew up.
Hello, motherfucker. Actually, I forgot to do that.
My torpedo blew up.
I'm sorry for you. I forgot that I wanted to watch, again, the Hangover movies last night. I watch them on it.
Talk about a krill issue.
Talk about a fuck you.
I smell pestilence.
I smell a little bitch.
My singular anti-aircraft gun is... Okay, my anti-aircraft guns are firing at a P-47 that's 2 miles out.
Is that good or bad?
Yes. I'd say it's kind of good because they're angry at somebody who's not even close to them. They're like, fuck you for existing.
Where to watch The Hangover? Wait, can I watch that on Disney fucking Plus? Can I watch The Hangover on Disney Plus? If I can, that'd be nice. So I'm not signed into Amazon Prime anymore. Also, yes, I'm paying attention. I'm just multitasking.
So anyways, naturally, thinking that the Allied powers were kind of uncool, albeit realizing that maybe now wasn't a great time to immediately start a war with somebody, they're like, you know what? We'll wait. We'll wait and see what happens. And later that year, in September of 1939, Germany invades Poland.
Uh-huh.
And the next year, they would take over France, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Denmark, and Norway. So remember how I said, like, they took over France and they took over the Netherlands? That's kind of important. Especially because remember how I said that the Netherlands in particular had a lot of rubber?
Uh-huh.
They didn't get that from being a tiny-ass country that is on drugs all the time. They got it from stealing it from the natives. You may be asking, what natives? They don't have colonies. In fact, you'd be wrong. They had colonies. It's called the Dutch East Indies. It's now India. It's now Indonesia now. But anyways, so they're like, we could take advantage of this. However, because they know that if they fuck with the Netherlands, they're going to get their ass beat by the United States of America. And they're like, I don't want to die just yet. I want just enough to, like, I don't want to die. You know what I mean? They're like, they're pretty high on the fuck around and find out scale though.
I would like to watch The Hangover, not Medea's Christmas. Thank you. Even though I do love Medea. Watch. Please. Swing free.
So in 1940, they're like, So while, those guys over in the Netherlands, they're like, we can't touch them right now. But hear me out, guys. We could go kill the French. And so it was. They decided, you know what? We're going to invade. We're going to kind of invade. We'll try and just invade French Indochina, which, in case you don't know, that turned into Vietnam. Oh. Oh, that's foreshadowing for another video, which I am not going to talk about. All I need to say is, good morning, Indochina. If you know the movie reference, you know.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Damn it, you spoiled the next video. I will grab out the squirt bottle.
You referenced a Robin Williams movie. Are you really expecting me not to know the reference?
I wasn't expecting for the you just give it away for these stupid audience. The goofy ass
hey,
motherfuckers.
Don't call them stupid. Don't call them stupid.
Goofy ass motherfuckers. I know what they
Call
watch.
Stupid.
I know their search history.
No, you don't.
Roman probably does.
Probably.
And
But
I will not elaborate on that because I don't think we're allowed to talk about that here.
I don't care. Stabby can do what he wants.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways.
Stabby can do what Stabby does.
So, yeah. So, they invaded French Indochina. And then they won. And then they reinstalled the French puppet who was there because France was now quote-unquote allied with, Nazi Germany. It's called Vichy France. Go Google it. It's its own story. Why are you doing the SpongeBob theme?
I don't know. It popped into my head. And I don't even like SpongeBob. I hate SpongeBob.
We're not even making a video on Castle Bravo yet. And yes, that will eventually get its own video, but I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I've ranted long enough about random shit. Basically,
But random shit. But random stuff is fun.
So, before I actually get in, I know we're an hour in and I'm still talking about fucking preamble, and I haven't even really talked about, the actual start of of this and whatever. But
for an hour?
yeah, we've been doing this for an hour already, and I've been rambling. Because I know that I ramble, and I you know what? I ramble on.
Because autism, ADHD. What do you think I'm multitasking right now?
So, anyways. So let's talk about the state of Japan prior to the war. Because that's kind of important when realizing their decision. Japan is, by all means, at the start of World War II, what we would call a developing country. In modern terms, we would call that a third world nation. But the first and second worlds don't exist in this. They don't exist yet. That's an invention of the Cold War, which we'll talk about another day. But so basically, Japan, at the start of World War II, they're not doing so well. Their tanks are quite possibly obsolete. They have been for a while now. To be frankly honest with you, they haven't been doing so hot. And I wonder why. It's almost like they haven't invested in tanks at all. They haven't? Oh wow, that sucks. Sucks to be them. It's kind of a krill issue for them. This will not, in fact, come back to haunt them. Oh wait. It will. Oops. Anyways.
You know what I want right now?
Huh.
Red Lobster biscuits.
Too bad.
Bye. I want a biscuit. Give me biscuits.
Because ain't nothing but a heartache.
But why can't I have a biscuit?
I haven't gotten any sugar today, so nobody can be happy.
Oh, how dare you! Go get some sugar so I can be happy. Because I want cheesy biscuits. I want to be happy. Why won't you let me be happy? I don't know who else is watching the stream along with me, but tell them to give me a biscuit.
Nuh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. However, if it's Anvil, he said that you don't count. Even though I think that's bullshit.
Well, Anvil is made out of bullshit. He's Australian.
You're made out of bullshit.
I'm made out of freedom and pretzels.
Australia is more free than we are.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Should I be saying that on YouTube? Probably not.
Probably not. You're going to get the entire United States of America into our comment section because of your outrageous accusations of
That means that you get views.
Anywho.
If everyone's in your comment section, that means that you get views. So Australia has more freedom than the US of A. Australia has more freedom than the US of A.
I don't want to get, like, arrested.
You can suck my content I may or may not have. You don't know. I'm the best co-host. He's not saying I'm not. However, I am his only option, so deal with me.
Anywho.
I'm his only option. I'm his only option.
What on earth are you on?
ADHD segment up to 8 o'clock in the morning, and all of you have left me alone.
Also, what the hell is that I'm hearing in the background?
YouTube, maybe?
So, anyways, basically, Japan's army, not in the greatest of states. You know, their army is kind of obsolete. May not be the most ideal thing in the world, but hey, you know, their tanks are getting a little bit old. You know, and frankly, they're not. That they were mediocre to begin with. Maybe great for the early to late 30s. Not so great for World War II. So, in the name of... So basically, what ended up happening is that you had a lot of supposedly modern equipment and a lot of very terrible old equipment all right next to each other in the field. That is what ended up... That's what usually ended up happening. So, despite the fact that they were supposed to be replacing a lot of rifles, and they were supposed to be replacing all kinds of weapons and whatever, they did not.
I am on something today. I've just been annoying people today. It's been great.
I have died. But I put up a good fight. But another thing was, aside from their obsolete equipment and obsolete, vehicles and whatever, another problem that Japan immediately found themselves in at the beginning of World War II was a slight problem when it came to air power. Not to mention production capacity. Here's the thing about Japan. Japan, at the time, had a population of about 40 million people. Just a reminder, for those who don't know, that is approximately half the that is the population of Poland in 1939. That is the population of Poland. An area much smaller than Japan. This may be, quite possibly, terrible for Japan, and will not, in fact, be a crucial decisive factor later. That they don't have that many people. Slight problem with this. If you don't have a lot of people to begin with, and you decide, you know what, let's go fight a war. A war that is probably going to lose more people. As you can imagine, that might not be the greatest idea for Japan, but they did it anyways. This means that realistically, at the start of World War II, Japan, which already has shit-poor infrastructure, has basically no people to speak of, has a very weak military-industrial complex, has piss-poor tanks and equipment that is aging and obsolete, and their navy is the only thing that's getting anything done because they have all the resources. This is a problem. Another problem is doctrinal. Japan has, they love their Bushido code and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. These are the original simps. These guys are simps for samurai and shit. Which is all well and good until you realize that the samurai shit is the whole reason that they haven't really been able to advance up to this point. Because everyone's head is stuck up their ass and stuck in the past. Which, in case you didn't know, that's pretty stupid.
I forgot what day it was, and now fireworks are coming off.
Now, when it comes to Japan in World War II, let's think about it this way. Every country has its statistical limits as to what they can support. Every country.
Yeah.
So here is an interwar destroyer of the Japanese Navy. Do you notice anything? Oh.
What?
Oh, shit.
You good?
Yeah. So, do you notice anything about this ship that may cause an issue later? What the? Stop. Stop War Thunder with you. I don't want... Do you see any issues that you think might come up as a problem later?
Not that I know of. I don't know ships.
Well, so
That's your thing.
So here's the thing. All ships are measured in tonnage, which is measured using water displacement. Meaning everything underneath the water has to be just about as heavy as everything above the water.
Yeah.
If the top is too light, something funny will start happening when you lose more weight. You stop being buoyant, meaning you sink, which is bad.
That is bad. Sinking is bad.
What happens when you make a ship too top heavy?
It's gonna flip over.
It's gonna flip over and capsize. Which, guess what? That's bad.
It's not good.
Because guess what happens when it flips over? All the people can't get out. And they die. This ship, as you may be able to tell, via the giant ass turrets, the thin as paper hull, this giant bridge assembly and giant engines, and then this giant assembly of turrets on the back. This ship may be just a little bit top heavy. And this is a consistent problem for Japanese destroyers of this time period. They're top heavy, which is a problem. Meaning,
I could see why that's a problem.
They-
You honestly just like
they
do
just
a
get
flipsy.
they do a little bit flipsy in
You do a flipsy.
any abnormal weather. As soon as the weather starts getting a little bit silly, a little bit fucked, it doesn't like it when it gets fucked. Okay, here's another one. Nat, what else do you notice about the ship?
Right now I can't see anything. So what are you trying to show me? Ah, there we go. You already showed me the top heavy stuff. Are those the guns?
This thing in the center?
Yeah.
No, these are just massive 610 millimeter torpedo tubes. In case you guys can't do the math, that's 24 inches. A bit excessive. Maybe just a little bit. It might be a little bit excessive. However, another problem that you'll notice is, guess what? It's top heavy. Again. Wow. In fact, it's heavier. If you go look at the stats, this is 1981 tons. This other one, oh, it's actually slightly heavier. Never mind. Okay. This is Japanese cruiser. Or at least in this game, it is rated as a cruiser.
Okay.
Do you know the slight problem with this ship?
No, what?
As it says here, it has 5-inch guns as the main guns. And all of its anti-air are 25 millimeters. Now, if I go to the United States and I look at easily the worst cruiser in the entire fucking game, shut up. I will order and select group. This motherfucker. I would like to get rid of this motherfucker. Him in particular, because he is stinky and I don't like him. Okay, hold on a second, guys. So if I look at easily the worst cruiser in this entire game, the USS Atlanta, you'll notice that it also has 5-inch guns. However, as you can see, it has an excessive amount of them. 8 of these turrets, in fact. Do you want to know the main problem of the Atlanta class light cruisers?
What?
They're top heavy.
Seems like it's a pattern.
However, that's because the fucking designer was a fucking idiot. This, at the time, is one of the most modern light cruisers in the entire US fleet. Now, viewers, you may be saying yourselves, why does this look like a cruise liner? And why does it look old as shit? That's because you'd be correct. It is, in fact, old as shit. So, the Trenton belongs to the Omaha class. The Omahas were built at the end of World War I. And to be perfectly honest with you, the Omahas were not that great to begin with. They were mediocre cruisers at best during World War I. Also, I can hear that from here. Thank you.
You can't do shit.
So it was
I'm totally not reading right now. That's totally not what I'm doing.
So the USS Trenton, and by extension the Omaha class, they weren't that good to begin with. However, if I go look at other light cruisers from before the start of World War II, this is the Brooklyn class. You know what problem it doesn't have? It's not top heavy. Because look at this thing. It's an absolute fucking unit. Somehow, they managed to design the perfect cruiser. One other slight problem during this time frame. There is so at that time, you have the Washington Naval Treaty that tells you how heavy you can make a cruiser. Do you want to hear the dumbest excuse that they gave?
Sure.
They said that you cannot have a battleship over 30,000 tons, and you cannot have, actually, it was originally 30,000, and then with a clause saying that you can up it to 40,000, and maybe 50,000. And they said that you could not have a light cruiser, or any cruiser, that was over 10,000 tons. You'll notice on the USS Brooklyn, it is over 10,000 tons. It is 12,242 tons. Did the United States get in trouble for this? No, because by the point that the Brooklyns were entering service in 1938 and through 1940 and 41, nobody fucking cared. Japan was not playing by the rules with their cruisers anymore at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So this piece of junk, this can't even be considered a treaty cruiser since it predates that period. Let me quickly. This is also not really a treaty cruiser since it's right before. This is also from like World War I. This was a treaty cruiser. You'll notice that these things have 140 millimeter guns. They're not that great. The other problem with Japan around this time is that while they were going, at least in terms of light cruisers, they usually tended to stick to the rules. Except when you build something like this as a heavy cruiser, which starts to bend the limits. We'll say that. You know, it starts bending the limits when you're at 11,000 tons. So naturally, you know, the Japanese, after a certain point, they stop following the rules. That's not a cruiser. My bad. My bad for those of you who saw what was on my screen. That was not a cruiser. Okay, here's another treaty era cruiser.
There you go. Nuts.
You'll notice that a big pattern with Japanese cruisers, or just Japanese ships in general, is the fact that they are, how do I say, this thing looks like a castle. Just this entire top section, a little bit stupid. And as you can see, they may be a little bit top heavy, and they may be a little bit bending the rules when they're 16,000 tons when they're supposed to be 10,000 tons. And honestly, Japan weren't the only ones. You know, they weren't the only ones bending the rules. Hold on. Let me quickly find this. Guys, they weren't the only ones bending the rules, okay? Look at what Germany was building. This is supposed to be a cruiser, according to Germany. Does this look like a cruiser to you, Nat?
No, not really.
No, it doesn't. In fact, it kind of resembles pre-Dreadnought battleships of before even World War I happened. And in fact, these things use 283 millimeter cannons. Guess what? That's illegal. Because cruisers aren't supposed to have guns that exceed. The upper limit is to light cruisers. The upper limit was 200, or the upper limit was 155 millimeters. For my fellow Americans, that is 6.1 inches. Don't ask me how I know that. Heavy cruisers, the upper limit was 203 millimeters, or 8 inches. This, at 283 millimeters, that, in case you guys can't do math, which I think you guys should be able to do math, that is 11 inches.
I don't know this.
Guys,
She wishes.
a heavy cruiser? Guess what, guys? It's a little bit over 10,000 tons. I don't know if you guys can see that on screen, but that says this thing is 18,210 tons. That may be a little bit over the treaty limits. So remember how I said that they had a 30,000 ton limit on battleships? I think this exceeds the 30,000 ton limit. Maybe just a little bit. Also, by treaty, they couldn't have battleships could not have a caliber of gun larger than 15 inches. Which Japan promptly broke. However, I don't have that ship in game because it doesn't exist yet. No, seriously. If you want me to make an excuse for why Yamato isn't in the game, look, this is the highest Japanese battleship in the entire game. This is not Yamato. Also, this one also breaks the rule, but that's because they felt like it. Guys, look, another ship that definitely abides by the treaty rules. Definitely abides by the treaty rules, guys. Here, watch. Here, watch. Again, definitely abides by the treaty rules. Definitely under 30,000 tons. 30,000 tons, my ass. 42,302 tons. I don't think that's treaty limit. I'm not a scientist, but that doesn't look like it follows the rules. So, Japan, they're not really following the rules. The US, honestly, at this point, nobody really cares. And even with Japan's rule breaking, here's the other thing. They continue to do something that may be seen as incredibly stupid. They prioritize speed and firepower over armor. Do you want to know the slight problem with that?
What's the slight problem?
The slight problem is that the highest gun that they are rated, that most Japanese cruisers are rated for, is at a minimum the 5-inch 25 caliber gun. I'd show this gun if it wasn't that they don't exist in game right now, because they only really existed on submarines. Either that, or I'm going to have to find some really old battleship or whatever that is like ancient. I have to find one that's ancient enough not to have 5-inch 38s, but also young enough. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these little top guns, you can't really see them that well, but these little top guns that are on the top of the ship, right around here, that's the 5-inch 25. They were rated for that. At a minimum, most of their cruisers were rated for that. At the highest, they usually were rated for these, which is the 5-inch 38 caliber gun. These things are on literally everything. They put them on destroyers. In fact, this destroyer has them. And so does this one. And this one. And this one. Even other battleships have them. Like this abomination of science. And this thing, which doesn't even follow the logistical rules of being a cruiser. Also, just a reminder for people who don't know, this thing was given the designation large cruiser because they didn't want to say the word battle cruiser. It fits the definition of a battle cruiser. You have battleship caliber guns on a cruiser, on a basically excessively sized cruiser hull. That's what it is. There is nothing else to it. I can say the same thing for Scharnhorst, but I will make a video on that. I will make a video talking about how stupid Scharnhorst is. Just you guys fucking wait. I can complain about Scharnhorst all I want. None of you guys are going to stop me. Anywho, so Japan maybe not doing so well navally. And they're building. So, and another thing is that during the 1920s and into the 30s, basically after 1925, nobody's building any battleships. Except Italy. Temporarily. But that won't be for long. Basically, nobody's building battleships. This is good. Right? Well, kinda. Basically, if we look at the US prior to their entry into World War II, the US had no tanks, no modern infantry, a essentially volunteer army that was there part-time, a aging air force, if you could, in the best way, that's saying the best, are quite possibly old. Like at the beginning of World War II, the US's premier fighter is the P-36. Which is not that good to begin with. However, by 1940-41, they kind of get some better aircraft, including the P-30. The P-39 is being designed and being shipped off to the UK. The P-40 Warhawk, which is good but not perceived as good enough. They start design work on the P-51 Mustang, which won't be put into service for a while. And they also start working on some other fancy stuff, like the P-38 Lightning. However, there is a problem. These are all going to be in the... These planes are all going to be in the future. In the meantime, they have to work with obsolete aircraft, including the F-4F Wildcat, which is also kind of starting to get a little bit old by this point. Meanwhile, at this point, when it comes to the US Navy, just like Japan, a lot of their ships are getting a little bit old. They're having problems. You know, like old people do. When it comes to, like, the US ships and whatever, we were hit pretty hard by the weight limitations, imbued by the Washington Naval Treaty. It hit us hard. Mostly because of the 2,500-ton destroyer limit, meaning we couldn't even build as many destroyers as we wanted, let alone needed to. This is the same problem that the UK ran into around the same time. They realized that they couldn't produce enough destroyers, let alone those that fit the exact specifications and weren't anything over. Which, that kind of tends to be a problem. Another thing is that while at the time the US Navy battleships had been completely modernized, here's the thing. The newest of any of the battleships were the Colorado class, which had been built during the early 1920s in the immediate aftermath of World War I. They're old. They were 20 years old by the beginning of World War II. And honestly, they were on track to being replaced. By what? We'll get into it. The US, honestly, because Congress wasn't giving us the money that we actually wanted towards the Navy just kind of stopped spending money on a lot of things. So while a lot of these older ships had modernizations as recent as 1930, including what was seen as one of the premier ships of the U.S. Navy at the time, the USS Arizona, a slight problem. These ships did not have modern fire control systems. They did not have radar, because at the time, radar hadn't really been invented yet. That wouldn't really come until later. And another slight problem, aside from the fact that they don't have radar, they don't have modern fire control systems, is that they don't really have any anti-air anything. Their anti-air guns are 50 cals and the occasional 20 mil on some of the cruisers, and also the 5-inch 25 caliber gun, which is not suited for being used in an anti-air capacity at all. Because here's the thing. When you have larger and larger shells and you give them shorter and shorter barrels, they have less time to hit terminal velocity, which means slower projectile. The shorter the gun you make, the slower the projectile. Before, the range is just a non-factor.
Can I tell you a joke real quick?
Okay.
teacher has a green ball in one hand and another green ball in the other. She asks her students, what does she have now?
Two
Kermit
balls.
the Frog, begging for mercy.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay, you go out.
So, you know, a lot of US destroyers were kind of starting to age, and that was its own problem. However, keep in mind that around this time, like, destroyer armor doesn't really matter. It's more of a suggestion. To be frank, in a lot of destroyers, armor was just kind of a suggestion. However, at least they usually tried to have the ships to be rated like for the gun that they had, or even larger. But so these battleships, they're kind of starting to get old. They don't really have any anti-air coverage to speak of. Neither does Pearl Harbor, which we'll get into that. And basically, around this time, the US and Japan are not doing well, to be honest, militarily. Yes, the US is starting to introduce conscription around 1940, or at least by 1940, they're restarting it. I mean, at least it's good enough that they started it. Albeit, as you can imagine, it took a little bit of convincing for the politicians over, in Congress, because they're a little bit slow. And another thing is that, so as I said, a lot of these ships, they're kind of getting a little bit old. They're not really adapting to the technology that needs to be used. Also worth mentioning that US torpedoes had not been field tested at all, because we didn't feel like it was necessary. And then the US Ordnance Department tried to cover it up. Yeah, US Navy Ordnance tried to cover it up. So they literally tried to cover up all the deaths and whatever that could have been avoided if their torpedoes hadn't failed on them for submarines and destroyers. And they actively tried to prevent people from modifying them so that they would actually work. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Also, the commander of the Pacific Fleet, the future commander of the Pacific Fleet, when he actually gained command of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, he was a little bit pissed that, and he hates government. He hated government bureaucracy. So suffice it to say, when you have basically one of the main characters showing up to kick somebody's ass, you know shit's about to go down. There is a severe ass kicking to be had. So, while we're going and we're like, you know what, we'll design some things. So one of our first things was we decided that we wanted to design a modern, we wanted to design a modern battleship. So we started drawing up some designs based off of some ones that we had politely borrowed from the 1920s. Keep in mind that these designs were a little bit old, and these were at the time experimental and suggestions. These were suggestions for designs. The reason why they had not put them into practice is because at the time they were broke. And they didn't feel like doing it. So it didn't happen. You'll notice that this is a pattern with the United States government. Damn, we're broke. We can't work on this anymore. Despite the fact that it could possibly be a revolutionary technology, we're not going to actually invest in it. You'll notice that I kind of get a little bit mad when the government does that. Creates a fucking experimental technology, immediately forgets about it. God, just wait for auto aim bullets. Yes, that's a real thing. You can go Google that. But we'll cover that another day. I'll make a Battlefield video on that because I feel like playing Battlefield, eventually. So, we're kind of working on shit, but that is like in the future. For now, most of our ships are old, obsolete, and they're not that great. Some of our interwar light cruisers are very good. Our interwar heavy cruisers are top heavy, usually, and are pieces of dog water, which is not genuinely beneficial. So how long do you think it takes for us to start even building this new design of battleship? Hello?
Yes.
How long do you think it takes us to even start building it?
Very, very long time.
You'd actually be correct, because they started construction on the North Carolina class in 1938. Yep, 1938. We only started doing this in 1938. So, the first, the first battleship wasn't even ready by the time World War II even started in the Atlantic. Over yonder, over in Europe, the thing that isn't supposed to be our problem. So we were designing that. Also, so our the first of these battleships or whatever, it was commissioned in 1940, and then the second one in early 1941. Maybe it was a little bit late. Also, these ships were relegated to serving in the Atlantic. Oh boy. As you can imagine, this was a terrible idea.
Yeah, probably.
Considering that they thought that war was going to happen in the Pacific. Albeit, just as an insurance policy, they decided to send you eventually. Keyword is eventually. This is by the time they start sending USS Washington anywhere near where it's supposed to be, at least where it should be in the Pacific. The order comes in. They give this order in November 1941. Or November, actually not even November 1941. They give this order in November 1941. It doesn't reach them until January of 41 instead of 40. So, it took a little bit. Eventually, what the US eventually starts doing is that they eventually realize, oh, hey, Japan's building a battleship, and it might not be following any of the rules. Let's make a theoretical ship to counter it. Because they know that none of the battleships that currently exist could ever fight it. This is 1938 that they're designing this. At the time that they are building this, and they don't know any of the details. They know that Japan's building something really big. This ship would end up being the Yamato, literally at the time the largest battleship in the world. Yeah, the largest battleship in the world. They're like, let's figure out a way to counter this theoretical ship. They created the Iowa class, which started construction in 1940-41. A little bit late. And they wouldn't see service until the war was basically almost over. you know, kind of sucks. So you know, we're like, we're cooking, we're cooking. It took us a while, but we're cooking. However, that won't be for a while. So in 1940, the U.S. blocks all oil sales to Japan. This is right as World War II is, you know, still kicking off. They're still doing things in Europe. And Germany just did their funny thing in France. And in a few months' time, Germany is going to be doing something funny in Russia. Which definitely won't come back to haunt them later. Right, guys?
Just know that I have now put my headphones on charge.
Okay. Right, guys? This won't come back to haunt the Germans, right? Right, guys? So anyways, so while Germany's doing their thing, they're basically like, well, what the hell, America? We don't have any supplies now. And realizing that they could just get supplies from stealing, they're like, what if we invaded Southeast Asia? Like all of the British and Dutch colonies. You know, where they have oil and rubber. We could steal that. And it would be funny. Right, guys? However, slight problem. They realize, dang, the Americans are going to probably fight. Or at least, they're going to fight us so that we don't get our hands on the oil. And because we're attacking their strategic allies. Even though the US isn't really even in the war at this point. Yes, we're arms dealing. And yes, we're giving them supplies and whatever. But doesn't mean we're not in the war yet. Keyword is yet. That would all change on December 7th, 1941. Finally, I have gotten to what I'm talking about in the video. Basically, Japan realized, we should fight. We should fight them, right, guys? They're like, you know what? We can defeat the Americans in the short term, at least, because Isoroku Yamamoto, the leader of the Japanese Navy at this point, he's like, guys, I can guarantee that after 18 months. I can guarantee us like victory and success for 18 months, and that's it. And that's my best estimate. After that, we're completely fucked. In fact, he would be kind of right. So, basically, they did a little thing. So, at the beginning, so while they're like, you know what, let's send all the aircraft or whatever. This is right before the planes even take off. This, by the way, this is around 1 a.m. local time. That, that they're making that these basically they sent in some Japanese midget submarines to do cause a little bit of chaos. However, at 3:42 a.m. Hawaiian time, the U.S. Coast Guard minesweeper USCGC Condor spotted a midget submarine periscope southwest of Pearl Harbor, and then it alerted, and with the minesweeper alerting via radio the destroyer Ward. USS Ward, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but the USS Ward is a Wicks-class destroyer, meaning it is one of the very old 1,000-ton ships that the U.S. was building during World War I. So this is like World War I destroyer that they're sending this out. Oh, I won. Yay.
Hey, good for you. You haven't won a lot today.
However, the USS destroyer, the Ward, basically they're like, I don't like the fact that there are people here. I should probably kill those people. I am going to end this man's whole career. Which, good on them. I mean, it took them a little bit, but I mean, good that they at least did it. Right, guys? They at least they tried. Or at least, they will try. So, USS Ward at 6:37 a.m. It sank another midget submarine, or it sank a midget submarine other than the other one. By the way, it was using its primary armament. So it was using 4-inch guns to shoot at a submarine. These guns are for surface contacts, not submarines. Because, why not? Another midget submarine fired a torpedo and at the seaplane tender USS Curtis, and then fired again at the other attacking destroyer, at another destroyer, the USS Monaghan, with the USS Monaghan promptly sinking her at 8:43 a.m. A third submarine, which had been grounded twice, it was captured. It was captured.
I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Which, yeah, kind of funny. Also worth mentioning that around this time, um, a lot of they lost a lot of midget submarines. So anyways, let's go back to the airplanes because that's kind of the majority of what's actually important when it comes to the attack on Pearl Harbor, since they did the most damage. So the first wave mainly carried torpedoes, stuff that was designed for capital ships, the big boys, battleships and stuff. And they were told basically kill any battleships or aircraft carriers if you can find them. If not, kill the next best thing, cruisers and destroyers and whatever. Which, worth mentioning that of the 3 U.S. fleet carriers that were attached to the U.S. Pacific Fleet, one of them was in San Francisco. Yorktown was in San Francisco. Lexington was on a patrol in the. It was on patrol and it was not very close. In fact, it was just returning from the Philippines. And USS Enterprise was returning from a run where it had been basically bringing planes and whatever to Wake Island and also Midway Island. This isn't really important for the sake of today's video. Albeit it's worth mentioning that all of the planes sent to Wake Island and Midway Island were destroyed on December 8th, 1941, right around the same time that stuff was happening at Pearl Harbor. The first wave of enemy aircraft consisted of 183 total planes. A lot of them were bombers. However, there were some. There were 41 A6M0 fighters produced by Mitsubishi. Yeah, the car company. The car company bombed Pearl Harbor. Yeah. No, remember that the next time that, you decide to buy a Mitsubishi. They bombed Pearl Harbor. You know Subaru? You know what else they did? Aside from making cars for lesbians, apparently. They also bombed Pearl Harbor. Just Google Fuji Heavy Industries and you'll find what I'm talking about. basically, they sent a lot of planes, obviously. You know, the okay, U.S. radar spotted these early. However, they thought that they were a group of U.S. Army Air Force P-40 Warhawks coming back from a flight mission, which they weren't. So somebody obviously got fired for that. When it came to when it came to casualties, there was no shortage, unfortunately. A significant amount of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, when it came to our battleships, were offline. The only cruiser to actually get underway, the USS Honolulu, was hit by shrapnel from several bombs, which, you know, kind of sucks. And and another cruiser, the older cruiser, hold on a second. USS Helena, one of my previously mentioned, World War I era, roughly, light cruisers. It was one of the Omaha class. It was a little bit old at the time, just a little bit.
On your knees.
So there were a few cruisers and whatever that were damaged. However, most of the U.S. casualties were unfortunately caused by the detonation of the USS Arizona's forward magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, for a brief moment, there was a moment where it was in the air because of the force being propelled upon it by its forward magazine fucking exploding. I'd like to mention that throughout the entire attack on Pearl Harbor, the commanding officer and admiral of the Pacific Pacific Battle Line It's worth mentioning that he was, in fact, on board USS Arizona and was commanding and helping anti-air crews on the bridge before a bomb struck the bridge prior to the magazines detonating. His body was never recovered, and his body was never found. It's presumed that he died on the bridge.
Presumed.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure he's dead. You know, it sucks to have to make that presumption, but yeah, no, he's pretty. I can imagine that he's probably very dead. Um, nine civilian Honolulu Fire Department firefighters were killed when they were trying to stop the fires that were at Hickam Field.
Yep.
USS Nevada was essentially sank on her way exiting the harbor, and she was the only battleship to actually get underway during the Pearl Harbor attacks. Also, just a reminder that this thing fucking beached itself and then managed to actually return to service. Yeah, fucking nuts. USS West Virginia was hit so bad from residual blast from Arizona, as well as just being hit so many times on her surface, that it was remarked upon afterwards that the entire midsection of the ship had been leveled. Think about that for a second. It was essentially leveled. It was hit by 2 bombs and 7 torpedoes. Yeah, fucking nuts. Also worth mentioning that when the repair crews were starting to work on it after the attack, it was remarked that the only thing holding the damn ship together was the armor belt, which somehow managed to be miraculously intact. USS West Virginia returned to service in July 1944. Some of the other battleships were not so lucky. As I said, USS Arizona was hit by several bombs, with one of these bombs passing through the armored deck in between A and B turret, which is the front 2 turrets. It entered through and hit the main magazine, causing the ship to essentially snap in half. Albeit it is still mostly, I guess, one kind of wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Barely, but USS Oklahoma was hit by 5 torpedoes and promptly capsized and was written off as a total loss. And albeit they did eventually salvage it by 1944, with there being an image of it next to the Iowa-class battleship USS Wisconsin during Wisconsin's service in the region during, 1944-ish. And it just kind of shows you the size difference of the pre-war battleships versus, the most modern battleships of the time. And unfortunately, we don't know where USS Oklahoma went. We were going to scrap it, and we even sent it to San Francisco. It did not make it to San Francisco. It capsized somewhere 500 miles off the coast, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 miles off the coast of Hawaii. USS California was hit by 2 bombs and 2 torpedoes. It sank and then was repaired, refitted, and returned to service in January of 1944. USS Nevada, despite being hit a lot, in fact by 6 bombs and a torpedo, and was beached, it returned to service in October 1942.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fucking quick. That is 10 months. 10 months from essentially being a giant fucking box on a sandbank to I'm back in the water normally and I'm now going back to fight the fucking Japanese. Kind of a little bit nuts. However, you have to remember that this is the United States Navy during World War II. Nuts is their middle name. USS Pennsylvania, the flagship of the entire U.S. Pacific Fleet, and by extension, Admiral Husband E. Kimmel. Yes, that's his name. Albeit Kimmel was not, in fact, on his flagship. He was on the shore and just kind of watched as everything happened. As you can expect, he kind of got fired. Because stupid.
Fired as in fired or fired as in fired?
The fuck does that mean?
It means, did he get fired or did he get killed?
He got fired by an executive order from the President of the United States. If it wasn't already obvious that he fucked up, he fucked up. Also, just mentioning this now, after this, his replacement, he's a little bit famous. His name is Chester Nimitz. Yeah, the literal Navy main character of World War II. We'll talk about him in another video. I'll probably talk about him if I ever end up making a video on Midway. Because, planes and shit. Anyways, Pennsylvania, honestly, was fine. It was hit by a bomb and was hit by debris from the destroyer Cassin. 9 people died. It was fine. USS Tennessee was hit by 2 bombs and it was fine. and returned to service in February. Maryland was hit by 2 bombs and returned to service in February, albeit because Maryland was so damn close to the USS Arizona and was basically obscured by just the sheer fire around USS Arizona. They honestly thought it was a lot worse than it actually was. Albeit it is worth mentioning that the USS Maryland lost its float plane during this time period. But that was because it was shot down. It wasn't like bombed when it was still on the plane or on the ship.
I have a question for you that is unrelated to the topic very much.
Can it wait till after the video?
Fine. If I remember.
Write it down somewhere, or like put it.
I'm ready.
Yeah, just put it in Discord, and I'll read it later.
I'm texting you.
Okay. Anywho.
I need to know.
So anyways, we also had a ex-battleship that was no longer really in service at this point, called the USS Utah. It was hit by 2 torpedoes, and then it capsized. Because of how terribly placed and positioned it was written off as a total loss, and we didn't even bother to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the USS Utah, it's only one of 2 ships that are actually in Pearl Harbor right now. You can actually go, I think you can actually go visit, like, the beach near USS Utah. The USS Utah is still on the shore, kind of. It's still sticking out of the water. Albeit it's kind of on its side because, slight problem. We tried to attempt to salvage it and right itself up, kind of like how we did USS California. It didn't work. By it didn't work, I mean it kind of started dragging. The ship kind of started sinking back into the sand, and we kind of partially dragged it across the beach. We got it stuck. We got the ship stuck. This is just the door stuck meme. Door stuck. Door stuck. Anyways, the cruisers Helena and Raleigh were hit during the attack. I mentioned Helena, but Raleigh was also hit by a torpedo. It was fine. Don't worry about it. It returned to service later in February of 1942. USS Cassin was hit by a bomb, literally burned down. Like, the entire ship burned down. In fact, for the glory of the people for the people who are currently watching this video, I will, in fact, show you an image that I have pulled up on my phone or whatever. Yeah, there you go. That's what happened to the ship. Also, as you can see, USS Pennsylvania is in the background, and right next to it is the destroyer Downs, which also kind of burned. So yeah, maybe not so great. The destroyer USS Helm was underway going to the West Block while it was damaged by 2 near-miss bombs. It then continued its patrol and then just kind of went back to normal. Also worth mentioning, so remember how Cassin and Downs kind of burned down? Funny story.
Wow.
We then completely reconstructed them from the ground up and then returned them to service. Yeah. Behold the power of the U.S. government. USS Shaw managed to get hit by 3 bombs and then later returned to service in June of 1942. The mine layer Ogalla was hit by was damaged by the torpedo hit that had hit the Helena, capsized and then returned to service. USS Vestal was hit by 2 bombs, the blast and fire from Arizona, and then subsequently got beached. It also returned to service. The seaplane tender Curtis was hit by a bomb, and also a crashed Japanese plane. Yeah, plane crashed into it. Ouch. Don't worry, it was fine and returned to service in January. The harbor tug Sotoyomo was damaged by the explosion and fires that were happening on the USS Shaw, and then it sunk, and then returned to service. The floating dock YFD-2 was hit by bombs, sunk, and returned to service. And the first thing it did was repair the thing that was that had damaged it in the first place, which was USS Shaw. And so you'll notice that a lot of these ships, they were destroyed and then completely like reconstructed.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of them were repaired.
Yep.
And a lot of it was done very quickly. So when it comes to the short-term effects of, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese, they did great.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to the long-term effects, they didn't do shit. They kind of stalled. They didn't hit any of the carriers. In fact, they fucking missed USS Enterprise. Stupid. Stupid. So yeah, they managed to miss USS Enterprise somehow, despite the fact that it was literally on its way back to Pearl Harbor during the attack. Not only that, literally in the immediate aftermath of the attack, it showed up. You can only imagine, like, the crew of the USS Enterprise. They're going there and they're like, the fuck happened here? Why is everything on fire? As you can kind of imagine, initially, the US was a little bit pissed. It's even funnier that the Japanese, they only gave the US government the declaration of war after the attack happened. Because you have to remember that December 7th, 1941 was a Sunday.
Yeah.
Meaning a little bit annoying for the Japanese actual embassy workers when they have to come on their day off and deliver mail. A little bit inconvenient. But it's fine. They're underpaid.
Oh, you do that on God's resting day.
They're fine. They're unpaid. They're not really paid that well anyways. But yeah, when it comes to the immediate effects, Pearl Harbor itself didn't exactly do that much. At least, well, it completely, temporarily disabled the U.S. Navy. However, there was a slight problem when it came to this for Japan. They didn't hit any of the fuel storage tanks. They didn't hit the submarine base. So basically, all of that they just did, all of that was worth nothing. But yeah, in the immediate aftermath, they did a lot, but they kind of fucked it up themselves, to be honest. They set themselves up for failure. Oh, I'm dead. Man, I'm dead. Also, hello, Anvil, and welcome. Anywho. So, you may be wondering, did Japan do any other naughty stuff? The answer is yes. Pearl Harbor wasn't even the only thing that they attacked on December 7th, 1941. Yep, believe it or not, wasn't even the only place that they attacked. Which is, just wow. Also, just going to mention this here because I see it not mentioned very often anyways, and I think it's worth mentioning here. So, as I said, Pearl Harbor isn't even the only place that they attacked on December 7th, 1941. At 7 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, the Japanese attacked Kota Baru in British Malaya. Also, in case you're wondering, it was 1 a.m. on December 8th in Malaya at the time. Immediately, literally an hour after Pearl Harbor happened, Australia declared war on Japan. Think about that for a moment. The U.S. didn't even declare war on Japan at that point. Pearl Harbor had just happened, and the U.S. hadn't even declared war on Japan. Australia did.
Congratulations.
Albeit it wasn't formally declared until 2 days later. Because, it takes time to actually write these things down. However, don't worry about it. At the same time, on December 7th, 1941, Canada and Panama also declared war on Japan in the immediate aftermath of Pearl Harbor. So, yeah, I think that's hilarious that, that Panama and Canada, of all people, they declared war before we did. And war's supposed to be our thing. you know,
Canada's supposed to be the pacifist.
Canada's supposed to be the nice one. They're supposed to be the nice sibling. Oh, I seem to have died. Anyways, Japan at the same time bombed Midway Island, killing 4 people and wounding another 10. On December 8th, 1941, at 11 a.m. New Zealand time, New Zealand declared war on Japan. At the same time, Japan bombed Singapore, killing 61 people. At the same time, Japan invades the Shanghai International Settlement. On the same day as the U.S. declaration of war on Japan, which is December 8th, the United Kingdom declared war on Japan, as well as Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras, the Dutch government in exile, and Nicaragua. Japan, in the meantime, also decided, you know what, let's go invade Thailand. Quick in and out. A quick adventure, in and out, 20 minutes. Thailand then joined the Axis. Thailand then joined an alliance with Japan after and declared war on the Allies, which may not have turned out to be the smartest move. Maybe it wasn't the smartest move in the world. Maybe with the benefit of hindsight, they could have done something, literally anything, to not be an idiot. And they decided to be an idiot. Oh, I seem to have lost a lot of stuff in front of me. So, around the same time, Japan started invading literally everything. They started invading British Malaya, the Philippines, the Dutch East Indies, also known as Indonesia later, Guam, Wake Island, and Hong Kong, among others, beginning their invasion of the Philippines by attacking Bataan Island and kicking off the Battle of Bataan. And basically, this whole mess, it just kind of kept going and going and going. More places would be attacked in the days to follow. However, it's worth mentioning that by 1942, like mid-1942, Japan realized that, oh hey, I don't think we're advancing anymore. We're kind of getting our nuts kicked in.
The bulls went. Sorry, that's a dumb reference to Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Which is a dumb movie. Anyone in the chat or McKenna or whoops, Cody, don't watch it. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Oopsies, I named you. Whoops.
Anywho,
Past it.
Okay. So another thing that happened in a few days after Pearl Harbor, the sinking of the British battleship Prince of Wales and the battlecruiser Repulse. This was easily the worst thing that could have happened to the Royal Navy. Both of them were sunk by Japanese aircraft, and this was their Pearl Harbor. And no, I'm not going to talk about the raid of Alexandria, because I know Anvil probably knows about the raid on Alexandria, and honestly, that deserves its own video. But long story short, Prince of Wales and Repulse were without any cover at all. So they had no air cover. They had essentially no anti-aircraft armament aside from Prince of Wales. It didn't end well. It didn't end well at all. But yeah, I think that covers Pearl Harbor and the events surrounding it. It's worth mentioning that the U.S. basically built itself back up to strength by, May and June of 1942. That was at least until a series of fuck-ups in August, in which they proceeded to lose 3 aircraft carriers. Fucking damn it. Yeah, little bit stupid. But that is its own episode. We'll talk about that later. In the meantime, everyone, I thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all have a good Saturday and also Sunday if you live in another time zone, like this Australian fucker over here. Please.
You did notice he's in the call. What we do?
Please make sure you subscribe to this channel for more things. Our next video will be the FNAF video, if that is to say, if our other co-hosts ever decide to show up. Which
okay, Madeline was coughing blood earlier today, so
I know, and I'm giving her a pass for that. But I'm just saying, usually they're late. If they show up at all.
It's true. They've only showed up once.
That's true. Well, Keely showed up during one episode. Aside from that.
It's okay. You have me. You have the perfect one. I'm the good one.
Well...
Hey.
Okay. Yeah, anyways. Please make sure to donate or, do whatever you can for all those causes that I put in chat. Also, please, for the love of God, donate to our trip in London. I really want to go, and I have to file my paperwork. Please, but please, for the love of God, do all of the things. Do the liking, do the subscribe, comment for more videos. Comment what you want me to, what you want us to cover. If we don't know about it, or if we are somewhat knowledgeable about it. We have an Undertale episode in the works that I'm having James work on. He has his script written out and everything.
Oh yeah, I'll get to meet James. Finally, I get to meet Canadian.
So yeah, we have that video as a snapshot video that will be coming sometime. Probably, knowing them, it's going to be within the next few weeks. Them, not as in James, them as in our other co-hosts.
If ever.
Yeah. Oh, another announcement. On December 31st, 2024, and also technically January 1st, 2025, I will be doing a rock music in review video on this channel. I will be even editing it. Yeah, I'll be editing it for your viewing pleasure.
Oh man, he gets to edit me out.
I'm not editing you out of the video. I don't even know if I'll be recording with you on the stream or whatever. Because I have a thing anyways, and I have plans, and I have a thing that I'm doing. And I'm currently writing the script right now. I will even not actually no, I can't even legally show that. I'd show you my script, but I cannot legally. I should not legally show you the script because I don't want to get copyrighted yet. I want to get copyrighted at the new year because fuck the fuck are they gonna do? Anyways, that'll be it for today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all have a good day. Remember, kindness costs you nothing. And also remember that don't break someone's heart. Break someone's bones. They only have 206 of those. When you only have one heart. We don't give people
the middle finger. We give them every finger.
Exactly. 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 Mamma mia, why am I speaking in the Italian accent?
Neither of us are Italian.
No, at least I think I'm not Italian. I'm not sure. I may have Italian in my blood. We're not entirely
sure.
I
am not Italian. That is what I know. I know that I
am not. Mamma mia, I casta da pizzeria.
People who follow him on Instagram know that I am very white and look 12.
You do not look, well, you look 15. You don't look 12.
I look like a 12-year-old.
You do not.
I could still go to buffets and get charged as a child. That is how young I look.
Okay, anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed. Also, go follow me on Instagram and go follow me on Twitch. And click that bell icon on Twitch so you can be updated for when I stream. Because I do occasionally feel like streaming on Twitch.
You don't stream on Twitch very often, though. You don't stream on Twitch often.
I stream like once a week. If I feel like it.
Exactly.
And usually, if there's anyone there, it's usually either going to be Roman or it's going to be James. Or both. Anywho, that'll be it for today's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitch. I stream there occasionally. Also, please make sure to do all the things in the description if you feel like it, and subscribe, like, comment, and suggest more things. You guys have my Instagram, so you can send me messages and say, oh, you guys should do such and such video, and give me like sources and whatever, and I'll read up on it, and maybe I'll do a video on it. If I feel like it. Which is most of the time.
I need one of you to comment one of my hyperfixations so I can force him to listen to me about it.
Somebody comment Halo. I have an addiction.
No.
I have several addictions.
No, comment one of mine. Comment on something. I don't know, Marvel comic books, fucking zombies, something, vampires TV.
Yep. Anyways, that'll be it for today's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let's say bye to everyone because we've drawn out this outro long enough that I feel like I'm in Minnesota. Natalia and Anvil, if you feel like it, say goodbye.
won't, but bye, bitches.
You know the rules, and so do I. Say goodbye.
By saying goodbye, you are them down.